Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Airspeed Reads Naruto video. This one is going to be my review for Naruto Volume 33, which you can see here. This volume is called The Secret Mission, and we cover another 10 chapters this time around. We cover 290 to 299, Consequences, Rage Trigger, the third tale, Rampage, the fourth tale, Toward Nine Tails, the Sad Conclusion, Sai's Mission, the Secret Mission, and the Source of Strength. So yeah, overall this is a pretty good volume. I really like it. It's got a really kind of big, huge scale fight between Naruto and Orochimaru, and then you have a lot of kind of plot stuff going on just around like the kind of powers that Naruto is using and how he's kind of letting the rage kind of control him. And we get some nice flashbacks to kind of the reason why this is such a problem for Naruto now, and the way they resolve it, you know, with him hurting Sakura, and then Yamato's kind of speech to Naruto at the end. It all comes together really nicely, and you know, you've got some interesting stuff with Kabuto here, Sai obviously apparently betraying everyone. So it covers a lot of ground, a lot of pretty big things happen. You know, it hasn't, you know, quite hit everything they're going for right now, in that it is basically just based around a fight, but it's so well done and it's leading towards obviously something more, in that they're now in pursuit of what Sai's up to, and they're kind of following Orochimaru, and there's obviously hope that we get back into contact with Sasuke. So a lot of stuff to talk about here, so let's get into some specifics. So where we ended off last time was that Yamato was transformed into Sasori and was meeting Kabuto on the bridge. And fairly quickly this breaks down in that, okay, it's always been the case that Kabuto just honestly believes in Orochimaru. That's why he's there. Sasori did use a jutsu on Kabuto, but Orochimaru broke it, and he's loyal to him from here on out. So that's seen through. Orochimaru, obviously we saw him in the last volume, that was the kind of cliffhanger ending. He knows that Naruto, Sakura, and Sai are out there as well. And basically it's just the fight kind of happens from then on out. And the second Naruto enters the fight, you can tell that he's in Nine Tails kind of mode, ready to go. As you can see from his face here, the teeth, the kind of look in the eyes, he is very much like Orochimaru is the person who took Sasuke away. He's the one he's the most angry at, and that if he gets information from Orochimaru, he could get to Sasuke. So makes sense, but immediately you see that some pretty crazy stuff is happening here. Like you get the immediate like attack against Orochimaru, and it's just this insane level of power that Naruto has using this mode, which is obviously a much more powerful version of the Nine Tails mode he was using in part 1. But obviously we now have this idea of like the number of tails determines the power level, and even with just a couple of tails out here, he just sends Orochimaru flying through the trees. But because of the nature of Orochimaru and his powers, he can take a lot of damage and keep kind of, you know, I suppose fixing his body by doing that whole kind of snakeskin technique where he just kind of sheds his skin and kind of gets a new body out of that. So some pretty interesting stuff happening, and the flashback that we do get here is quite interesting. That's obviously Yamato reflecting on basically why he was chosen for this mission above anyone else, and the reason is because of Jiraiya kind of informing them as to what happened. That he kind of talks about how there's only been 2 times in my life when I've come close to dying. The first was when the incident we get talked about, I think Yamato actually mentioned it in the last volume, where Jiraiya was spying on the woman's bathroom and Tsunade really badly hurt him. And then he mentions that the other one was while he was training Naruto during the 2 years we didn't see. When the 4th tail came up on Naruto's new kind of Nine Tails mode, and he couldn't hold it, and basically he was nearly killed, and he has this huge scar on his chest because of that incident. And so straight away, just someone as powerful as Jiraiya being overcome by Naruto and just barely making it alive, you can get the sense how dangerous this is. And we get explained to us that it's rage that kind of triggers the power, and Naruto can hold back and kind of remain in control for the first 3 tails, but the fourth tail kind of just takes over Naruto, and that it's he can't really control it. Some other interesting things are just that this is where we get the reveal that the Nine Tails mode actually damages Naruto's body. What we've seen up to now is that it just makes him more powerful, and apparently heals him, but there's also this idea that if the longer he stays in it and the more powerful that mode gets, it eventually begins to kind of wear away on his body, so you can sort of see the effect it's going to have. And we also get the explanation for why Yamato is the one who is going on this mission. Like, yes, he's powerful, he's got the wood style, but also because the reason he's there is because if Naruto does go crazy with the Nine Tails mode, Yamato has the first Hokage's cell's DNA within him, and so that allows him to basically have the power that the first Hokage had, which was to contain tailed beasts. So Yamato having some of the cells means that he has an element of that power within him, and that combined with the fact that Naruto wears the first Hokage's necklace allows him to basically, suppress the Nine Tails. So that's a pretty nice explanation for that, and that, okay, that's the reason why Yamato is there. So yeah, and then like after that, basically we just get these volumes of just everyone watching Naruto basically destroy Orochimaru. Orochimaru stays in the fight because Naruto's just kind of very brute force, supreme power kind of mode here, whereas Orochimaru is doing a bit more kind of clever tactics, making sure that he kind of stays alive, doesn't take an insane amount of damage. But eventually what happens is that Naruto ends up destroying the bridge that they're on, which takes Sakura by surprise. She kind of is knocked unconscious temporarily. And we get the first moment that shows that Sai is really not a team player at all. Like, we knew he wasn't he didn't have the best attitude for the team, but the fact that he just lets Sakura fall from the bridge, and like even after Yamato said, Sai, you're flying on your bird, catch her, and he flies past her to go after Orochimaru, it kind of highlights that absolutely not a team player. And for Yamato, you can sort of see this team is kind of falling apart. Sakura got knocked unconscious, Naruto's just gone crazy, and Sai is kind of going rogue, basically. He's the one keeping the team together, and it's it really highlights kind of the skill that he has, that he manages to kind of keep his cool in this situation when it's kind of all falling apart here, basically. But Yamato does manage to save Sakura, so that's pretty good. What's the next notable moment? You really see like Naruto begin to lose himself as the fourth tail comes up, and you get these nice visuals of kind of what's happening inside. He's basically like floating within the Nine Tails power, and basically floats through the kind of gate where the Nine Tails is sealed inside, and that's basically the visualization for us of him losing himself to the Nine-tailed fox. And this is where we see basically the effect that it's going to have on his body, the chakra kind of tearing away at his skin, and the kind of first kind of reveal of kind of if Naruto just lets the Nine-tailed fox kind of completely take over, what exactly happens, in that he basically is turning into a miniature version of the Nine-tailed fox. It comes across pretty nicely here, just with the way he does the kind of I don't know what you call this, like cross hatching or something like that. Just the ink work there to get across that this is kind of this chakra form. It looks really good in the anime. Just the kind of half black, kind of half really dark orange, and it's kind of pulsating. It looks kind of really good in the anime, and it comes across nicely here too. Yeah. I suppose given that the reveal of Kakashi's face happened fairly recently, it's interesting that one of the chapter images is an almost face reveal for Kakashi right there. So that's kind of just something I just noticed actually just there. But yeah, the fight then continues, and you kind of see that because of Orochimaru and the way that he kind of is, and that he's not just kind of limited to his own body, he can basically just sacrifice bodies at will because he's so... he's done so many experiments on himself, and he can take all this damage, that he's just doing all these crazy things with his body, like turning his arms into a bunch of snakes, turning his torso into snakes, and he's basically like, he's not confined by his human form, and that allows him to take on Naruto in this mode kind of relatively effectively. we also get to see the first kind of shapings up of the tailed beast bomb, but this time Naruto actually eats it to kind of gain more power. But yeah, just the fight continuing, just really kind of solid stuff. You know, you get the really cool kind of attack that Naruto does, where he basically fires the laser after eating the tailed beast bomb, and then Orochimaru tries to defend it with the 3 Rashomon gates, but it still goes through, and Orochimaru is almost defeated. Like, it's really kind of crazy, but he does manage to get away. He kind of uses his snake sword, and the fight kind of begins to return back to the bridge where Sakura and Kabuto and Yamato are. And this is where the kind of big moment happens, where Sakura is kind of really like struggling with what to do here, and that she is kind of shocked that Naruto has this power, but she can see that he's losing himself, and that these are the lengths that he's going to try and get Sasuke back, where he's sacrificing his body, his kind of will and stuff like that, over to the fox to get Sasuke back, and it's kind of all due to the promise that he made to her, and she tries to kind of snap him out of it, but Naruto in this kind of state just kind of lashes out in her and kind of hurts her arm, and it's especially with what they do with it kind of just a little bit later on. There's not too much of this volume left. It's a really big moment to see this idea of like Naruto's doing this to try and save a friend, but ends up hurting one of his other friends in the process. It's very much the whole Aang in the Avatar state from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the kind of early uses of the Avatar state. Aang would get very emotional. He'd go into the Avatar state, and he'd have such little control over it that he'd just be doing these crazy attacks with his friends right next to him, and he's upset over what happened to other people he cared about, but he's at the risk of hurting people around him. And it's a similar thing here, kind of done to an even kind of greater degree here. But then we get to actually see Yamato sealing the kind of fox away, or like being able to contain it and get Naruto back under control using the like Hokage style jutsu, which is really interesting. It's just kind of this wood prison thing that kind of extracts some chakra out and kind of gets Naruto back. But you see when he comes out that his entire skin is kind of completely burned and he's barely conscious, and Sakura's trying to heal him, but she herself is injured, and Yamato's just like, again, like dealing with the fact that his team is kind of like falling apart a little bit here, because Sai has left. He sent a clone after Sai, and we see that Sai is actually basically there to deal with Orochimaru and present a deal from Danzo to Orochimaru. We don't get the full details on what the deal is, but when Naruto is healed and he gets back up, they begin to talk about this, and they basically come to the conclusion that what's going to happen here is that Danzo is planning to destroy the Leaf Village and basically become Hokage from the ashes by using Orochimaru as a kind of to get him on his side and attack the village again, to overthrow Tsunade. So we obviously have this idea that he's the guy Danzo, who opposed the third Hokage, and now we have Tsunade in place, and he wants that role, and you can see what he's going to do here. And Sai is manipulating on his behalf. They initially don't believe him, but eventually we get the letter, and something that's within this kind of letter, these documents, changes Orochimaru's mind, and he kind of takes Sasuke on board, and they kind of decide to go back to the hideout with him and kind of continue. So, pretty interesting kind of what they're kind of presenting there. That just like this idea, like, oh, Sai was just absolutely never part of the team in any way. It's not just his attitude. He was never there as part of this mission to really be a team player. And, they don't really highlight it this much, but like, I almost wish they had maybe made some mention of this, but just the kind of curse of the third member on Team Kakashi, that Sasuke betrayed them, kind of went off. I wouldn't say full-on betrayal, but now Sai has also kind of left them, and just this idea that will they ever have a teammate who is there for them? And they end up the volume by kind of changing some stuff, but there's still much more to kind of go. But yeah, I think the big moment is definitely the last chapter that we get here, and it's basically Sakura has to stop to basically rest because of her injury to her shoulder, and Yamato basically takes Naruto aside and explains to him that, like, okay, you don't remember anything about what happened. Sakura just lied to you to basically say that, yeah, you got knocked unconscious during the fight and we're out of the whole fight. But he basically just explains to Naruto here that you were the one who hurt Sakura. You're the one who destroyed the bridge and fought Orochimaru and did all this damage. It was you unconsciously doing this. And I really like what Yamato says to him and the tone that he takes in doing it, in that it's not fully like scolding Naruto or really being like negative about what Naruto's done, but he's just making it clear that I have faith that your skills are good enough that you can save Sasuke on your own without needing to rely 100% on the Nine-Tailed Fox's power. You don't need that. He does make it clear to him that it was kind of serious, like what he did, that you let this thing take over and now Sakura's been injured and all this stuff has happened. Like, you need to take responsibility for that. But from here on out, do it on your own, not through the eyes of the Nine-Tails. And Naruto just accepts this, and he's going to grow from here. He's not going to rely on the Nine-Tails anymore, because that's definitely been the case, that Naruto is clearly a better ninja now than he was prior. But the whole Naruto-Sasuke fight at the end of part 1, the only reason Naruto stayed in touch was because he used the Nine-Tailed Fox mode. And the only reason he in any way challenged Orochimaru was because of that. But it's clear that a lot of people have faith in him, that he just naturally has the potential to be a ninja on that level without needing the Nine-Tailed. Now, ultimately, like in the series, where they go with it is that he becomes that and develops all these powerful techniques on his own. And then they're like, okay, if you do develop a relationship with the Nine-Tailed Fox where you can use his powers like effectively without damaging yourselves, it's another tool to have. But you yourself have to be strong on your own first. And ultimately, I like the overall development of Naruto's powers over the course of the series. It's just really, really well done. But yeah, he just says, if you want to help Sasuke, do it using your own power. If you want to protect Sakura, do it with your own strength. See yourself with the clarity of vision you already possess, not with the eyes of the Nine-Tails. And yeah, so then we just end with Sakura calling them over because she's been reading the little art book that Sai had before, which he dropped. And she's opened it up to like the middle page, apparently. And something notable is there. And this kind of reveals something that, like, she says, if you drew those, we are in serious trouble. That something in this, art book has led them to believe something about Sai after them just having doubted, basically, Sai and his betrayal and all this stuff. So, yeah, like a really good volume. Yeah, as I said, it's one of those ones where a lot of the volume is a fight, but it's a really good fight because of the kind of character stuff they do with Naruto, and that you want him to fight Orochimaru and win, but the way he does it, based on how much you know Naruto, that he's not doing it in the right way. This isn't his powers, it's just the Nine-Tails kind of controlling him that's doing it. You don't really want to see your hero in a rage like this kind of destroy the villain. And you just know that what Yamato said to him was completely true. And it will overall help Naruto going forward. And just as a character thing for Yamato, it just highlighted that, okay, we have this character here who's been serious at times, not as serious at other times, but ultimately, as the new leader for this team while Kakashi's out of action for a while, he is helping them. He's helping Naruto here by basically saying, I have confidence in your skills that you can become this, but you can't rely on this technique going forward. And just that while I'm leader, I will help you to get to that point and not need that, because I'll be here to suppress the Nine-Tails for you when you need that to happen. Because I did like there was a point, I don't know exactly where it is, but It's about the 3/4 point in the book where Yamato just kind of reflects that, like, wow, like seeing the amount of power that Naruto is like releasing now, kind of having been taken over by the Nine Tails. It's amazing to think that day to day, he just keeps this power contained within him. That's pretty incredible. Just that, as much as they're criticizing Naruto for letting it out because of his rage, they are also sympathetic to the fact that he is a Jinchuriki and that he every day has to kind of fight to suppress the fox. So I just like that as a little moment in the book. But yeah, that's been the review for Volume 33. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the volume and the review. But I'll just finish off by saying, if you want to follow me on social media, links to my Twitter and my Tumblr are in the description below. And then if you want to help support my channel so I can make more videos and better videos, link to my Patreon page as well as a PayPal donation link are also in the description below. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.